Hi everyone, this is Rebecca, and this is part one of my 2024/2025 series on my figure bodybuilding prep. In 2023, I did a video series that took you along on my very first prep for my very first figure bodybuilding show. I wanted to do that again this year. I'm going to be competing in June of 2025. And so I wanted to take you along my journey. In future videos in this series, I'll talk about the specifics of my training. I'll talk about the process and what it takes to prepare yourself for a bodybuilding show to actually get on the stage. And I'll discuss more specifically what my goals are on a month-by-month basis leading me up to the show. But today I wanted to sort of give an overview to explain to you what is figure bodybuilding, more specifically what is natural figure bodybuilding, why do I do it, and what is the difference between bodybuilding and health and fitness, and why perhaps I might have some ideas on how to improve your health and fitness through bodybuilding. So let's jump in. What is figure bodybuilding? So bodybuilding in present day, when it started, it was just bodybuilding. There was really just one category. And frankly, for women, in the beginning, you had the first Miss Olympia champion was Rachel McLish. And when bodybuilding for women first started, there was really very little in the way of performance-enhancing drugs, or some of them you might, an easy way to say it is testosterone or steroids. As time passed, performance-enhancing drugs became more predominant. I really got into bodybuilding in the early 80s, but then saw that shift to steroids, lost interest, and I shared before in my previous video series that when I met my coach, Cassandra Grippi, she enlightened me to the fact that there are natural federations. So there's now a huge number of natural athletes that are tested before shows, and you would be amazed at the quality of natural athletes that there are right now. So in bodybuilding now, there are lots of different categories. In female bodybuilding, you have, well, I won't include them all, but you've got bikini, figure, wellness, and bodybuilding. And there are some other categories scattered in there. My category is figure. I love it. I've had so much fun learning about figure. There's a lot involved, and again, in future videos, I'll talk about posing and preparing to get on stage. So what is the difference between bodybuilding and health and fitness? So health and fitness definitely is a central goal of mine, and I'll talk about the why in a little bit. Bodybuilding certainly fits into the health and fitness category until you get closer to your competition. And then it becomes more about the sport and less about health and fitness, because frankly, if you want to get on stage, if you want to be a competitive bodybuilder, there comes a point where you have to drop your body fat percentage very low. And so when that happens, it becomes a little bit more extreme, and it's no longer healthy to hold such a small amount of fat percentage over a prolonged period of time. When you're bodybuilding, you're not trying to hold a super low body fat percentage over a long period of time. You can't stay there. But for competition, you do have to get there. So there is a line that's crossed in competitive bodybuilding that starts with health and fitness, but then begins to move away from that. The goal is to always get back into that. And I'll talk in future videos about the process of preparing and then reeling it back, reversing your diet so that you can have a sustainable, healthy amount of body fat. There's quite a science to it. Why do I do it? There's a lot of reasons. I mentioned before that I've been fascinated with bodybuilding since the 80s, and inspired by Rachel McLish and Corey Everson, and folks like that started out in the 80s. And there's something about my character that enjoys doing things that are physically difficult. And I've always wanted to be healthy and strong, and always been fascinated by muscles. And so that's part of my why. The other part of my why is that I am almost 60. I'm 59. Did my first competition at 58. And in April of 2025, I will turn 60. And my next competition, I'll be 60. And there is a family history of cognitive decline, of dementia. I also have a family history of degenerative spinal conditions. And I've seen that family history impact the lives of many of my family members. And to be perfectly honest, that terrifies me. But as I studied and looked at those issues, particularly dementia, I've come to understand that there is a huge amount of science and evidence that says that building muscle, staying active and fit, but specifically building muscle, has a positive impact on your cognitive health. And obviously, I'm post-menopausal. I am post-middle age. Some of it is about appearance. I like the way I look. My body for competition, it's the most proud of ever been. I was never felt comfortable in a bikini, and here I was on a stage in front of a lot of people in a bikini. And certainly the appearance, that's part of it. But for me at this point in my life, it's more about function. It's more about, what do I want to do when I eventually have grandchildren? I want to be able to get on the floor and play with them and get up. I've seen the frailty of my family members. I also perform. I'm a musician, and I perform with several bands. But the other thing that I do with my music is I perform at nursing homes and rehab facilities. And boy, you better believe that's incentive for me. I see people in really advanced conditions of frailty and disability. And so I want to be proactive in what I can do. You never know. Life happens and accidents happen, and we don't always have control over what happens to us physically. But we can improve our odds. We can improve our odds by the lifestyle that we choose. And not everybody will get that. Not everybody will support. If you have a goal that you want to improve your health and fitness, I absolutely support you and encourage you at any age. I started bodybuilding at the age of 57. It's never too late. And I encourage you to explore that for your own health. And certainly to keep it in the health and fitness. You don't have to be a competitive bodybuilder, but there's so many good reasons to lift weights and to lift heavy. It doesn't matter what age you start. I actually have a friend that reached out to me, and she's very supportive of what I do, but she contacted me and she said, so my daughter said that there's no way that a postmenopausal woman like yourself can possibly build muscle unless she's on steroids or at least hormone replacement therapy. And so this friend reached out to me and said, is that true? Are you on something? And I had to laugh because the joke in natural bodybuilding is that your goal is almost for people to accuse you of being on steroids, because that means, hey, I'm actually I'm getting jacked. I'm doing it. I have not reached that level. I do not look like I am on steroids. But the point is, it's so funny that this daughter was giving her mother really bad advice. And some people do need to be on hormone replacement therapy. And if your doctor says you need to be on hormone replacement therapy, I fully support whatever you need to do to stay healthy. But it's not a must. I've never been on hormone replacement therapy, and I'm doing great. Maybe I'm just lucky. I don't know. But not everybody gets it. I had an uncle. We just celebrated Thanksgiving with some family members, and I had a family member who didn't know that I was in bodybuilding, and we'd been out of touch for a while, and it was mentioned, and he he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I don't like that. You're on a bikini, in a bikini and posing, muscle posing on stage. I don't like that." And I didn't say it, but I thought to myself, I'm almost 60, not doing it for you, my dear. I'm doing it for me, and it really doesn't matter if you like it or not. I'm not doing it for your approval. And when you make, lifestyle changes, just remember you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for someone else's approval. Excuse me. The other thing that I experienced when I was with my family members is that my parents are getting some nutritional advice from family member that they really shouldn't be getting advice from. And this is a warning that I actually would send out to all of you. Look and see before you take someone's advice, look and see how they live their lives and how healthy or unhealthy they are. And what are their qualifications? Before you take any nutritional or fitness advice, go to the experts. Unfortunately, my parents are listening to a family member and getting advice from a family member that has no business giving that advice because they've done their research. So be careful about picking your team. And so I think that's probably the last thing that I want to talk about is build your team. If you want to make a change in your life, whether it's health and fitness, you want to lose some weight, you want to change your body and the shape of it and the strength, or if you want to go into competition, if you actually want to compete, either way, build your team of support. I'm so lucky. I have a husband and friends that inspire me and that support me. We've surrounded ourselves with folks that are, 10 years older than my husband and I are, and they inspire us. They're active. They're out there doing it. My girlfriends Connie and Ricky, I'm just so proud of them and want to age as gracefully and as kick-ass as they are. They are my inspiration. They're part of my motivation. And my gym buddies, when you start a health and fitness journey, don't be afraid or embarrassed when you go into the gym, because most people at the gym have overcome something. You may see somebody that's jacked, that has great muscles, and they're building all this weight, and you may think, I'll never get there, or they're looking at me thinking that I'm a weakling or don't know what I'm doing. Most people at the gym could care less what you're doing. They're focused on themselves, and they actually started somewhere themselves. They had to overcome obstacles to get the way they are. So most people at the gym are really cool, really nice, and if you take the step to go into the gym and you need some help or some advice, don't hesitate to ask. I've built a wonderful gym community of people in the gym, and that's part of the joy of going to the gym. The motivation is seeing my gym buddies. So build your community. I also have a team of experts that I have supporting me. I have a coach, Coach Cassandra Grippy, and I will, by the way, link all of these folks their information below. Cassandra is an IFBB professional figure athlete, incredibly inspiring, and she handles all of my training, my coaching, my nutrition. She's an expert. She's studied it. She hasn't just done her research. So I rely very heavily on her. She's also a competitive bodybuilder, and so she knows what this journey takes. Also for posing, I work with Autumn Cleveland, who is also an IFBB figure pro athlete and has been on the Olympia stage. Phenomenal, sweetest young woman. All of these people that I'm mentioning are actually young people. Makes me sometimes feel rather old, but I'm so glad that I have them on my team. And Autumn has put together a whole online series on posing for bodybuilding shows. She's just phenomenal and just a sweetheart. I also have on my team a physical therapist. I developed some issues with my elbow, and so I reached out to a bodybuilder who has his PhD in physical therapy, and he's a member of the Natty News Daily team, which is a podcast or a YouTube channel of three gentlemen, Leroy and Dan and James, and they're huge advocates for the natural bodybuilding field, and they have a very inspiring show. When I'm doing my cardio, I put on their channel and I listen to them, and they're just amazing. And James has helped me tremendously with my elbows, helped me along with Cassandra to adapt my workout to continue to grow and to work out around my injury. If you have an injury, doesn't mean that you can't still train. There are always ways around it. But by having a physical therapist on my team and going to him before things got too serious, that's been tremendous for me. I also have an amazing family doctor. And I actually went in a few months ago for just a general checkup, and I had a little bit of a muscle strain and was talking to him about it. And he said to me, and he's younger, but he said to me, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to have a patient in here who is actively taking care of themselves, who's actively doing things to stay healthy. He said, I don't see that very often, and particularly in people your age. And so that made me feel really good. And he is fully supportive. If you have a family doctor that is not helping you focus on fitness and nutrition, then you're missing the boat. That's a huge part of being healthy and being proactive in your health. And our family doctor, Dr. Seegers, I adore him. And whenever my coach needs blood work, and we do follow blood work and make sure that I'm staying healthy through this process, my doctor is always there to support that. So wonderful person to have on my team. I mentioned before my motivators definitely include the guys on Natty News Daily. And then I have a new friend, a new source of inspiration, Matt Butali, who is a natural IFBB pro. And he's been very inspiring, and we laugh and chat together. And he, even though he has really advanced and is a professional athlete along with all these others I've mentioned, they aren't big-headed. They are humble, and they want to support those of us that are just beginning and starting out. And Matt, I shared some goals. I spoke the goal that's a secret goal for me, and I spoke that thing to him. And he has already said, hey, I'm going to hold you accountable to that and support you. So build your team, whether it's a stranger that you've gotten to know over Instagram, or it's a coach, or it's a doctor, or it's friends or family members. Build that team of support. That's how you accomplish difficult things and reach your goals. Don't be afraid to try something new. If I can do it, you can do it. I hope that my journey inspires you, if not to become a competitive bodybuilder, to take steps to take control of your physical life and understand that it's never too late. If I can do it, you can do it. Let's age not just gracefully, but let's kick ass doing it. So this is my 59, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks as we journey our way into 2025. Peace.